Hey guys, it's Bobby here. I wanted to step outside real quick because it's the only place that's quiet in my house because the game is on, and share something that I remembered today that might be helpful for the Tubi moms. I know I shared the video earlier today of the silicone that we use to go around the tube. I know there's different things that you can buy. We purchased about every single thing. Some of the things you had to wash, they kind of got a little gross. And so those silicone squares that we cut and we made, they were like the best thing ever, and it didn't hurt when we pulled it off or anything like that. So I wanted to share that with you as I was milling out the foam dressings and things that I was sending that mom. But I wanted to share about when Zion's Gtube came out. Like, talk about scary. I don't know, maybe you guys are more prepared than we were when we left the hospital, but we didn't get a ton of training, and you know, it's not like a Gtube class that you get. They show you the basics, and they tell you not to panic when it comes out, and you know, they can fix it. But we lived an hour from the children's hospital, and so we weren't just like right up the road where we could run to the hospital and someone could get the Gtube back in for us. And so it actually happened one time, and it's pretty common. You know, different things can happen. They can deflate, they can get a hole in them, or they can gradually leak, and the bulb ends up going away. So for the Tubi moms, this is for you. For those that don't even know or have never seen a Gtube in your life, maybe this is interesting for you as well. So I'm just wanting to show you what I learned and what I learned after this happened to us, in case it helps one of the newer moms who, you know, their child recently got one, and they haven't ever had an issue with it coming out, and they don't know what they would do, or they think they know what they would do, but then when it happens, they're like, ah. So this is actually the Gtube that came out. This was in the box that I had, and so I just saw it, and so it reminded me of this. And you know, that day we had extra supplies, so we had an extra Mickey button, and on the way out to the hospital, he had just had a feeding. And when we were switching off, it came out, it just slid out like nothing. And we didn't know why it did that at the time, but it was because there was a hole that was leaking in this one, which caused it to deflate. And so when there's nothing in the bulb, it would just floop, fall out. So what the Gtube is, it has a little knob, and this is where you put the port to feed, or you can do medications, things like that. And then it has this bulb. So when they do the stomach, they pull the stomach up to your belly, and they put this in, is how they do the surgery. And then they put the saline, or the purified water, whatever it is that they put in here, and they blow this up, and that's what holds it down in there. So, you know, you're supposed to check the Gtube and check that the fluid's not leaking, but we were afraid to mess with it. Like, we were seriously afraid to mess with it, and we did not. I think we were supposed to go back in 6 weeks or something like that, just to give it healing time. We weren't supposed to touch it at all, like to deflate or whatever, because you know, they're trying to get the stomach to stay up there. So it starts closing. That spot right there, it closes very quickly. So I know a lot of people who get their Gtube removed, basically it's like pulling it out, and like it closes within a matter of like days, from my understanding. And so this came out, and we knew we were over an hour's drive from the hospital, and so we got to the ER over here. And thankfully, on my way out the door, I grabbed one of the Mickey buttons that I had, that had the box with everything in it, which I did not know what it was at the time. And we had an extra one because this was not a pediatric hospital. It was just a regular ER, and they didn't carry these. And so if you're somewhere that, you know, you're not close to a pediatric hospital, it's good to have this. And so basically, let me just show you with the Gtube. So when they insert the water, they put it in like that. And so this one, of course, you know, it normally, this is how they get the food, but this one had a hole in it, so that's why it starts leaking out more than it should, and then that's what caused it to deflate. But if you get the idea, you know, as you're putting that in there, it blows up, and then that's what keeps it down in the actual stomach. So if you're not close to hospital, if you don't have an extra Mickey button to use, then I learned this after the fact. I learned that you can actually take the Mickey button and stick it back down into the hole. so that way the hole doesn't close. It's important that the hole, you don't give it enough time for it to close. Now, in the amount of time from the time that we left our house to the time that they were able to get the new one in, it was probably a good 50 minutes. And so they had to put like a water soluble lube on it to put it down in. And we actually had to push to get it through. It was already starting to close like that fast. And so some people can't do that. Or if you want to make sure that, it's not one of those things where it would be painful to them. What I learned you can do, if it comes out, you just stick this back down, even though it's deflated, even if you don't have one, you stick this back down in their stomach, and then you take your 3M tape. So if you have a tubey baby, you want to make sure that you have tape in your bag, because this can save you big time. And you just put it in and put the tape over it until you can get to a pediatric hospital or an ER to where they would have these to be able to replace them for you so that you could be able to feed your child. So this was just another thought. I know a lot of times if you've been doing Gtubes for a long time, like this is probably old information, but this might be new information. You may have never had one come out. We were so scared, like we would be so careful. And, I know people who've had Gtubes a long time, they're not as careful as we are with it, but, it was just one of those things. But it wouldn't have been so hard to get the new one in for him if we had put this back down in and covered it with tape to keep it in there until we could get the replacement one and then fill it back up. And it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them to do that at all. But if it starts closing and you have to put pressure, then, there's a little pain associated with that. So that's what a Gtube is. This is what it is. This is how it works. How you fill it up, and then how, to check the fluids, you pull that out. I do want to say I'm in no way like a medical person. I'm a mother who had a baby with a Gtube. That's it. This is not medical advice, but I'm a mom that had a baby with a Gtube and experienced an emergency situation and was freaking out. Did not know what to do. They tell you it's okay, but when it happens, it's scary. It's scary for the first time. And then after that first time, I'm like, okay, if this ever happens. And then I heard that, well, you could put this back down in so that way it doesn't, if it takes them a long time in the ER or they don't get to you fast enough or you live far away, it doesn't close up and it doesn't hurt them. So just a tip for your moms, you newer moms of tubey babies, that this is what a Gtube is if you haven't seen your child's Gtube, and that's how it works. And that may save you like a lot of scary moments. So, all right. I hope y'all are having a great Sunday. Bye.